Hello, in this video we're going to make an organically shaped vase in Fusion 360. Our first step is to go into create and create form, and it tells us we're entering the sculpt environment and we say OK. And in the sculpt environment we're going to go up into create and we can choose box, plane, cylinder, sphere. There's different things we can start off with our starting volume form. But we're going to pick box. And it's going to offer me 3 different planes to start from. I'm going to select the bottom frame. Actually, it looked like I selected the side frame, but that's okay. And now I have kind of this pillow-shaped form that I'm going to change the diameters on, the lengths on. I'm going to change the length to 50 millimeters, the width to 50, and the height also to 50. And I'm going to give the height face. Let's see, I'm going to give the width face to the height. So you can just play around here in the box with the number of faces you have on each plane. So I'm just going to say OK. All right, now I'm going to orbit, and I orbit by holding down the Shift key and pushing down on the roller ball on my mouse. If you do not have a roller ball on your mouse, you can always go down here at the bottom and select the orbit tool, and you can orbit. The next step is we're going to distort this form and make it more organic. So I'm going to go back into modify. I'm going to click on the actual text modify. At the very top I can scroll upwards and select edit form. It doesn't show up in this screencast here. It's beyond the bounding box, but it says edit form. And now I can select a face, and when I do that, it gives me 3 arrows. And what those arrows enable me to do is to push forward and back in the X, Y, or Z axes. Anyway, so I'm going to select different faces and I'm going to push them out, and I'm going to orbit holding the Shift key while I push on the roller ball. And as you can see, and I can also roll outward to change my view to zoom in or zoom out. So you can see this form is really distorted a lot already. I'm going to select the top 4 faces and I'm going to pull them upward. I don't know if you can see this, but there's 3 different orbital selection tools here. I can twist this sideways. Do you see how the form is twisting? That one twists it this way. I have a top one that goes in this axis, and then a third one that twists it this way. All right, so I'm going to hold the Shift key and push down on the roller ball on my mouse and orbit a little bit. So you can choose to modify your design however you want. You can also add in additional faces. So let's say I select this whole band around my design. I'm going to orbit it. I can go up into modify and say insert edge, and again I scroll upward. It's actually beyond the bounding box here, but it says insert edge, and I can choose where I add a new edge. So I'll say OK, and so now I have a little bit more granular control, and I can distort forms further. So modify, edit form. I can pull this out. So you can add edges that way. So I think I like the form I have right now. And to make this a vessel, I need to just select the top 4 faces, right-click on my mouse, and select the delete function. And now my form is hollow. Okay. But it doesn't have line weight. I'm sorry, it doesn't have line thickness. It doesn't have a thickness to the vessel. So I cannot 3D print it yet. In order to give it thickness, I need to go into modify and say thicken. And now I can type in how thick I want it. Do I want it 6 millimeters thick? Do I want a soft edge or sharp edge? I'm going to give it a sharp just to see what that is like. We can say the direction of the expansion. So I'm just going to say OK. And now you can see that sharp edge of the wall thickness. Okay, let's say that this is what I want to 3D print. I need to click up here on Finish Form, and this is my finished form. To 3D print it, I need to go up to Make, select on that, select 3D Print, and I'm not going to say Send to 3D Print Utility. I'm just going to uncheck that box. I am going to select the design, so you have to select your object, and it's going to do a low mesh refinement. Now I can say OK, and up comes a window where I can give it a name and save this STL. So I'm just going to name this test vase and save it into a particular folder that would be easily accessible for printing. And there you go. And that's how you create a vessel in Fusion 360, an organic vessel, very simple, and then save it as a STL so that you can print it on your 3D printer. Thank you.